Everybody, it's me, Corey. Welcome to the Dead Unicorn. We're playing the Fantasy D6 system. It's Vallanthia, hosted by me, but our game master is Howard. He'll be doing the jams, making the world, and it'll be a fun day. Running around doing cool fantasy stuff with our friends Tarek, Matt, and James. How y'all doing? James, you look snuggly.
Yeah, I'm also rather tired. Long day at work.
Sarah won't be joining us today, but she hasn't left us. She'll be back next week. We are now on Sunday, by the way. We'll be doing weekly Sunday games for the foreseeable future. And I'd like to thank our patrons. Scrolling in the upper hand corner. Yes, upper right hand corner. Thank you, patrons, for supporting the channel. Usually we have a poll that you can vote for your favorite character. Unfortunately, there was no poll for this game. There was a lot of things were moving around. So
I totally spaced on that too, but I don't think you ever asked for it either.
I don't know. It's been so long. But there'll be a poll for next time. I pinky swear. Other than that, our patrons get to vote for their favorite character, and that character gets a bonus. And also, hi, Crystal. And that's it. That's a whole deal. I'll move it on over to Howard, and we can start this shindig.
Well, for the rules, when we have a tie, the tie break goes to me, and currently we have 0 votes for everybody. I say I'm going to give it to the new guy. Enjoy your character point, Koya.
Thank you.
Koya is officially our spare tire, as he reminded me. He is the 5th player in case another player goes flat. He will fill it.
Oh, that's nice.
Or when we actually have everybody, then I'm the one who sits on the trunk.
No, you need to go potty.
All right, so
Go.
Are we all ready?
Yeah.
All right.
He's baby talking to his dog.
I'm trying to get
Well,
my dog to go outside.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Baby talk. I heard it.
Yeah, it's better than sweet talk to your dogs. Hey, baby, wanna go outside, you sexy little thing?
He was like, "Do you want to go potty?" Heard that.
Well, you got to talk. They're like they have the intelligence of a 3-year-old. You got to treat them like they're a little kid. You do really.
Yeah, but also like with those 3-year-olds, if you talk to them more adult, they end up learning more about it and responding better later on. It's all about training.
Anyway, we have recently learned, or rather our gang has recently learned, that names have power, especially demon names. And conveniently, at about that time, they met a mage named Koya of the Fianna, who is explaining once more that names have power. To look up more on this and demons and what is going on, they decided to go visit their friend Ka Ellis. They went first to the library where he worked, where they learned that he was at his house, and then traveled to the very rich district of town to his obviously magically created house. They met his servant Nathan, who appears to be a goblinoid in a very well-dressed goblinoid, and are currently waiting in his sitting room to meet Ka Ellis. And that is where we start. I don't believe he actually came out yet. Where we left off, is that right?
Yeah, we have a sitting room map. Do you want me to put that up?
Yeah, I always want you to put the map up.
Well, there it is.
If I put the map up there, y'all can definitely put your characters on the map, put the map on the stream. It's there. I was not able to find any goblins in suits tokens, and I didn't feel like making one. That's okay, because I think you went off to get your drinks anyway. It's not a big deal. It's not like you're going to go into combat with him, unless you're just feeling mean and like, let's just kill the help. Because, so far he has been nothing but polite. But he's green. And clearly, White Ape doesn't trust green.
Greenskins are bad.
Where the I have forgotten how to do the darn.
Click on your
Token.
name and just drag it over to the screen.
Okay, there we go.
Have you watched
Ooga
Goblin?
booga, ooga booga, murder hobos.
Have y'all watched Goblin Hunter? Something like that.
Also, if you click on yourself,
No, Goblin
you
Slayer.
can turn it. Yeah.
Goblin
You
Slayer.
got it.
That's the name of that show.
Have you seen the abridged version? I find it way too enjoyable. Goblins.
Hey, Matt, do you have anything else open right now? Because your voice keeps doing this thing where it slows down.
I don't, but my parents are running Netflix right now, and that's usually what contributes to the slowdowns. So I do apologize.
Mm.
I'm not getting it on your end, but it seems my output is a little iffy.
So I need you to go to Netflix real quick and change your parents' password without telling them, and then just log them out.
Or just cut the internet access to whatever the device is going through.
I might be mean spirited, but I don't think I'm that mean spirited.
I assume he means like unplug, not like get the scissors and.
No. Like if you got access to the router or seeing the IP address that it's running to and going disable
Or get
and
your,
watch Netflix just go. Pew.
or get your own place.
Or even better, be even sneakier, and do a quality of service drop so that their bandwidth is lower and your bandwidth is higher.
Am I the only one who's like, just get your own place? Go to Converse and get a really cheap apartment where people sell drugs out of it and live there for a little while.
Yeah.
Question is, how the heck am I gonna make money at the moment?
Selling
He just
drugs.
told you. He just told
Yeah.
you.
Just like everybody else in the world, sell coke.
I've never even
Just never
seen
sample
Coke in
your
my
own
life.
product.
I'm just joking, everybody.
I don't even
Nobody
know where to
can
get
tell.
Coke. I don't know how to sell it. I don't know how to get it. I've
Sucker.
never seen it. I have that look of narc when I meet people. They're like, "Don't shut up, hide it." And I'm like, I want to have fun too.
But I want coke too. I want a nose party. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Whereas me, I got the look of I'm new to the area. Where can I score some weed, dude?
I have been told this by multiple people that I look like some kind of Colombian cartel member, and I have been offended every time I've been told that.
When I first met you, I thought you were always stoned. I said, "This is my little stoner friend Tarek. Don't mess with him. He's awesome."
Was it true
Yeah,
then? I
everybody-
mean, it's true now.
Dude, you want to see something hilarious? It's not just so people always make fun of me like, dude, you look like you're stoned all the time. And the truth is, I'm gonna give you my
I'm gonna have to edit this.
you see that? You see that?
Yeah, I see your face.
Yeah, that face, I have it all the time. It is just constant.
Hey,
My
Just
own
to
driver's
really get it-
license
get it
makes me
through,
look like
though.
a stoned biker.
can you show me what your credit card looks like? Both sides.
It is a constant thing. People always assume that I'm drugged, and yeah, no, I just have eyes like that. They look like that. I got droopy eye.
All right. So y'all are sitting there, and a good hour passes. Do you do anything during that hour? By the way, these are bookshelves on either side of you. There is a crackling fire. Your drinks are brought by Nathan, who is very proper and very apologetic if you say anything about him or you make any complaints. If anybody requests food, he'll bring it.
Koya ate before we started out from the inn, so isn't hungry.
No,
Is happy with the drink, and because of her superstitious nature, is treating him with full respect. Because you never know when it's a Fey Lord in disguise.
I remember
Good point. Based on your superstitious nature, does that mean you do or do not eat the offered food?
I'm not hungry, so I'm not eating the food, but the
Okay.
drink is something that shouldn't
Well,
be a
there are
problem.
Fey legends about being poisoned, of course, by food. That's pretty much every culture. But there are, and you would be aware of it, Fey legends of insulting your host by not taking the offered food.
Yeah, but it's one of those that we were offered a full choice of whether food or not. So I'm just enjoying the drink
All right.
since I'm not hungry.
Okay, and it was actually a very rare wine that only your people generally knew about. I don't know if you remember that particular detail.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, I remember at the end of last game him already offering food, and I remember asking, like, he offered me some kind of rare delicacy from my people, and I was like, hell yeah, please. I'm tired of eating all this weird human food. Please give me something delicious.
For
and
the Fianna,
vegetarian.
most of their delicacies are meat based. They're a weird society of Fey worshipping barbarians.
Yeah, Tarek, you're like, where's my human placenta? Where's my...
Do you have haggis made with 4 different kinds of ew?
Yeah, I don't eat anything.
They're all types of haggis are ew.
Because that's a goblin. I ain't gonna eat anything goblin gives me.
Ah, haggis. I was looking for tripe.
I don't know if you've seen the show, the movie Waiting, but that just means that whenever Nathan's on, where you can't see him, he's just spitting at anything he's going to serve to White Ape to get a drink out of. be racist to me.
I ain't gonna eat or drink anything he gives me. It's a goblin.
Okay.
I assume that spit is the least offensive thing in there.
The opening of the
Tom
wine
will
bottle is
definitely
always
take
so
up
good.
any offers of food or drink.
Actually, yeah, he'll even have things that you don't think that he should know about because they're Mycenaean. Like literally made by Mycenaean, is in they use their own spores to alter the way things are prepared and cooked. So there's no way he should be able to prepare and bring you anything that he is listing as available. And yet
He's offering it.
Wouldn't mind having another
look.
taste of home.
This might be a goblin, but he's wearing a suit, and he's in my friend's house, so obviously I'm gonna trust him.
Okay. And the goblin, however, does not speak Reptilite. So there will be one awkward exchange unless Erda steps in.
I will totally, step in to help. 100%.
And once he understands that this person was raised in the Reptilite culture, he will offer things that you will translate that you don't necessarily know what they are, but you know the words for them. And you're pretty sure that these dishes are made out of large bugs, and they don't sound great.
I keep an eye on whether he accepts any food from that variety, or if he asks for something else.
No, he asks. He does. He likes eating. He was literally raised in the Reptilite culture. Which is why he only speaks Reptilite.
Sure. I just
And
wanted
so
to
he
see
is
how
completely
immersed he
adjusted
is.
to that.
Okay. So then I will as slyly as possible, which is probably not very slyly, attempt to study him as he's eating it to see how deeply immersed he is in that culture.
Okay.
I remember you said I had the when I became able to speak Reptilite, I was also able to kind of understand some of the cultural relevance behind some of the terms of that. So
okay.
I'm
Well, then,
imagining
yeah,
that he has like now a curiosity behind it. So I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to try to get a glimpse of it at firsthand lens.
Okay.
Like keep
Based
the
on
heel
what you can
claw
tell,
out when lifting your teacup kind of thing.
based on what you can tell, the way he acts, his cultural norms are not that of normal Vallantian humans or anything else. And it does seem to fit on what you understand of Reptilites. So it really just kind of expands your knowledge. You can only assume though that he's correct in what he does. So
That's fair. Yeah.
all right.
But it is an interesting glimpse into a culture and a society that is far removed from anything I'm familiar or comfortable with. So I think he's going to be super like curious about it.
You will notice that he licks everything he eats before he eats it. And beyond that, I can't think of anything else you'd notice during a meal. He eats mostly with his hands.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I will ask him at some point during the meal too, if the tattoos he has on him or like the branding. I'm assuming that was all part of the demonic kidnapping and not part of his previous culture, or is that something like a branding or warriors kind of thing?
It's the
in the
reptile
reptile
version
culture.
of Live, Laugh, Love.
No, the
Or Chinese characters.
he'll explain to you if you actually ask me if there's any cultural tattooing or anything amongst the reptilites, and they don't
Yeah.
use that because they don't have skin; they have scales, and therefore that would be a little weird.
Yeah. So
It would be damaging the scales to be ramming needles into them several times. It wouldn't heal right.
fair.
On the other hand, they do have a lot of things like war paint and stuff that they'll put on. And that actually meshes with what you have seen earlier. If you'll remember the bard that was a reptilite,
Mhm.
she actually was wearing it. Looked, I described it as like a paint-like makeup to augment her face. That's what they do. They are more likely to brush on additional colors that they're made from crushed berries and other things rather than literally tear apart their scales.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I feel like Erda would probably look pretty embarrassed after asking the question and getting the response of like, yeah, no, they have scales? And then him going, oh yeah, that's right, they're reptiles. Okay. Good point. Fair point. I'm gonna just keep eating this food here and try not to embarrass myself any further.
So all of his scars are either from wounds or from the stuff he carved into his body to try and trap the demon in. All right. After, like I said, after an hour, Ellis will enter. Hey, there he is. And for the folks at home, I can do this real quick and give you a better visual representation of what Ellis looks like. He's not a giant. But he is a Losfar elf. His hair is like a glowing gold. His clothes are generally bright colors, which none of you are Losfar, but you knew one, or some of you did. And she also wore very bright colors. And when she was picked up by her family, they were wearing bright colors. You start to get an idea that might be a cultural norm for them as well, since they literally have glowing bright hair and skin. For them, having glowing bright colors is not something that stands out. Not having the colors would almost seem to stand out. Anyway, so he comes in and he looks you all over and says, well, welcome to my home. Sorry to keep you waiting. I was attending to other matters. I'm still huge. Hang on. There we go. And what can I do for you?
I apologize for disturbing you, Kylis, but we have found some disturbing information and wanted to come and update you and perhaps request some assistance. I believe that your knowledge in this realm is far surpassed anything that any of us would bring to the table. I hand the book over, the book on necromancy, and I'll start pointing out, much like I did with Koya, the references in meticulous detail again. Just like I won't go through the process of re-role playing it, but basically the same thing as last time, but to Kyle Ellis explaining everything that he has gathered so far.
Koya does interrupt you right as you're pointing out certain parts, and it's like, don't say the name.
Yes, please do not name any of the demonic kinds in my home.
Thorflam.
Sorflam.
Thorflam.
Very well. There are ways of preventing them from hearing, if that is what you're worried of. Just give me a moment. He goes and he fetches a staff that you've seen before. And when he returns, he plants a staff and he utters some words which actually Tarek's character, Erda, is aware of. Basically, he says a chant, and a part of the staff glows. The chant basically is a chant of protection, and it's the idea of it is to keep people from spying upon you, like scrying or whatever. And once he's done, there's a brief like pulse of light that comes out from the staff and fills the room, and then passes away to where you don't see any difference. The room returns to normal. Well, you can speak freely now. No one outside of this room will be hearing you, even through that particular ability.
Right. Well, it would seem as though, regardless of how I came upon the name, it would seem as though there is some demonic influence that wishes to have its tendrils pervade through the city. I have a feeling that perhaps they're either the demon himself or a band of cultists who wish to see him empowered have begun spreading these necromantic tomes across the city. That was the original reason why we were investigating inside the asylum. And I believe that I have located the name of the demon in question who is propagating these tomes with the intent of encouraging more and more necromancers rise up within the city, which is quite the distressing matter, but unfortunately I'm at a loss for familiarity with the region and the individuals who might be involved.
You know, Erda, you could have just said that Malfrost wrote these books and he's a demon and we need to find him and stop him.
Well,
That would have
I
been a
don't
lot
know
faster.
that I don't necessarily know that we could technically find him. He may not be corporealized. It could be that his influence is bleeding
Or a
out from a
cult.
separate reality.
It is
Or
true.
like
You might be
through a-
doing this to get here.
Precisely.
So
Which
if
is
he's
why
not here
I'm
yet, that'd be great.
Figuring if Ka Ellis is the foremost scholar in the matter, perhaps he has some insight into who in the city or where in the city we might find some ne'er-do-wells who are seeking to bring this demon's incarnation about.
So you're asking me basically for a hint on what you should do next.
Well, perhaps if you could say such. I simply wish to know if you have any extra information about either the demon himself that could be of use, or if not that, then anything you might know about worshippers that could be identifiable by somebody who was to investigate. We are charged with tracking down the purveyors of these tomes and ensuring that they are brought to an end.
Yes, we've never tracked a demon before. Could you please help us?
Very well.
Yeah, we just kind of stumbled into the last one.
He walks over to the shelf, one of the bookshelves, and he picks up a little bell that's on top of it and rings it and sets the bell down.
And
And
then Malfrost comes up from the table. It was me the whole time. You fool.
then Nathan comes in.
It was me, Barry. You thought-
Nathan, fetch my tomes on the demons that use the death magic. I have at least 7. See if we have fetch them all. We're going to be looking for the name Malfrost. Is there anything else you could tell me about Malfrost? Might narrow it down.
He made things dark. He used his
And
powers
very
on us.
cold.
Makes things dark and cold. And I suppose scary as well. I'm afraid that doesn't narrow it down much.
When they said his name in the inn, it caused everyone to lose sight. It wasn't
Why?
actual darkness, it was actually stealing sight.
That is more interesting. All right. Well then, Nathan, go fetch the books. And Nathan kind of just walks off, never, just gives a nod and doesn't say anything.
You thought your first demon hunt would have been Malfrost, but it's me, Dio.
I don't watch that, but I know enough memes to understand the reference.
Zawardo.
All right. Beyond looking up these tomes, there isn't much I could tell you. But if you're looking for people that are doing necromancy, my first suggestion would be graveyards. There is a building where they do store bodies when they're found to try and determine if they belong to someone that is noble, and families must be notified. And there is a person that tries to determine who's killing people, or if it's natural causes, that type of thing. There's his position is mortician, and many of you have not heard of that because that's a human thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say my character looks at him with a dumbfounded face because he's so culturally unprepared for this. Like,
keep in mind, Carl Ellis himself is also an elf. He's explained to you these things that are typical human things, but he's not one. So that's why he's like, they call it a mortician.
Yeah, but he's still more cosmopolitan and well aware than any of us, I think. Well, except for maybe Koya. Koya seems like she's pretty savvy. But like,
Koya.
But like one of us is a
more
mushroom
human.
and the other two of us were hermits in the woods, basically.
Mortician, literally one who dresses the dead.
So, how many demons do you think are running around this city?
Hopefully not many.
I mean, we have 2 in like that many weeks.
Depends if you're
There's 2
meaning
demons?
literal or just people who use the nickname. There were 3 in the arena that just used the nickname.
No, demons.
Yeah.
We're-
Val the demon and Harkak the demon.
No, I mean
and
real demons.
Horsek.
Real.
no, we
what are you talking about?
We fought and destroyed and banished. We didn't destroy, but we at least banished Valrukar. And now we are dealing with this insidiousness that has been dredged up by this Malfrost. It is true that it is strange, or it is true that there is apparently an abundance of corruption at risk here, and I assume that that's a very consistent threat. I would
My
imagine.
understanding. No, go ahead.
I would imagine that demons would always be trying to gather enough power to breach into the corporeal realm. Seems like it would be something that would be fairly consistent.
I was for Valrukar. My understanding is that he was trapped inside of your friend. He indicates. Come on, brain.
You're looking for Airdrek?
Airdrek. There it is.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Anyway. All right. So he indicates Airdrek, and it appears that Valrukar was trapped inside of Airdrek for some time and is not the type of demon that uses the necromantic magic.
Indeed.
Whereas Malfrost is. So I would say the two are unrelated events. As far as how many demons are here, unfortunately, as demons apparently wish to take over our world, but they're not here corporally most of the time. So there probably aren't too many here. Other than that, Mr. Ape, I don't know what else to tell you. If they were here and I knew about it, I'd be happy to help you hunt them, but I haven't seen any. I don't have some sort of a radar effect that I can just send out and detect them. But if I did, I would
Your
totally
suggestion of talking to this
No idea what
mortician
radar
is
is, but
probably
it
a
sounds
good one.
cool.
And because if there's necromancy happening, then there will be oddities with bodies that are being brought in.
Wouldn't that wouldn't
What was the graveyard you went and
Valthier-
took the
wouldn't Bathier have already gone to a mortician because he knows these necromantic tomes are being distributed? Wouldn't he claimed to be a very good investigator?
Maybe he did. I don't really talk to him often. He doesn't like me.
No, he doesn't. He hates you.
I pick up on that. It's subtle, but when they have that sneer on their face while they're speaking, that's the hint.
He
Also, the
doesn't want us
fumes coming
talking
out of
to
their
you
ears is
at
another-
all, which makes me want to talk to you all the more.
Yes, Ka Ellis has been quite helpful in this whole endeavor, and we do very much appreciate your assistance, sir.
He basically called you a thief.
Oh, I've not stolen anything. What a strange comparison. Oh, well.
Yeah.
He's not here arresting me, so obviously he has no proof of any theft.
He said.
Do you mind?
He said if you had a mine, and there was a guy running around your mine saying he's helping, but you don't control him at all, like basically that. Would you like? Yeah, like a thief would.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know either. It was
That's like half the metaphor.
It was a very weird metaphor. I didn't understand it. It basically boils down to he thinks you're a thief.
Okay. Well,
Homily.
Valthier likes his metaphors. There was the turkey metaphor. There was the mine metaphor.
Give me my turkey sandwich or some shit like that. His very weird metaphors.
Indeed.
They made sense at the time. I'm sorry you didn't get them. Anyway,
do you mind if I take a look at the books once they arrive?
as we've been talking for a few moments, Nathan will be arriving about now. Yes, actually, it would be much quicker if we all looked. Can you read Elysian? At least 4 of them are only in Elysian.
I only read
very happy
Sylph.
to do so.
I don't read. Well, yeah. I read. I do.
Leave it to the rock guy to go. I don't read.
I don't read.
Read.
My arms
Me
are rock.
rock. Me no need read.
Paper beats rock.
Is that a threat to my
I think that's how
rock?
paper beats rock, is rock can't read.
Yeah, it's probably true. Rock
All
just
right.
never put the effort in. He had the skill points. He just never.
Rock no understand child support. Is this what paper says?
Wait, is that?
This is way out of left field.
You
Or
say
you're a bad dad.
It was supposed to be a non sequitur.
is this
It was supposed to be a non
alternate
sequitur.
the alternate reality where the Rock is just a deadbeat dad, and he's like, "Me no understand to read."
Me
The
say
boulder
what
is
about
conflicted.
man rights?
The boulder is conflicted.
Rock lives matter.
Granite.
Yep, that game's done. Anyway,
What you mean, son is now girl?
Rocks are just. They're just like, me say best way to get girl is negging.
you know, I bet it works. I might feel bad, but I bet it works.
I don't know. I have no problem getting girls by being a freaking human being. I don't know. It's just me.
Yeah, just talking to people.
Yeah.
You know, treating them like they're actual people too.
I think.
I don't want to go too far. I mean,
I mean, they're people, but are they people?
Hey,
I
hey,
mean, we don't
I
want them
said,
to drive or have voting rights, but yeah.
Hey,
Other
hey.
than that,
hey, said treat them like they are, and say
Oh,
are.
right. Now I got you.
Y'all are treading some very
I'm
thin
joking.
ice here. You know, we
If
hope
Sarah
that
were
people
here, she'd be
get
very
that
annoyed.
we are satiring the entire situation, and in
Yes.
no way, shape, or form. Where's Sarah? Why isn't she here? She needs to validate this. She needs to-
I don't know if she would validate or just yell at us, but
yeah, she'd probably yell at it. Let's be honest.
Be right
I used to
back.
date her. I got yelled at a lot.
Probably call us all assholes and then laugh.
All right, we will restart, I guess, when the 2/5 of the party come back. All right, one more fifth.
Sorry. The cat was going after my dream catcher. Took one of the feathers, little bastard.
Well,
You're trying to
one more
steal your
fourth of the
dreams,
party,
bro.
so it don't count.
That cat is trying to steal your dreams. You gotta be careful for that.
I got like
Don't be
four dream
robbing my
catchers
dream
up in my
catcher.
bedroom, and my cat has gone after every single one of them. In fact, he
Well-
seems to have a rotation.
Yeah, danglies. Anything with danglies, I feel like cats are immediately going to like respond to.
Like I'm betting tonight he goes after the one over the bedroom door.
Did he like jump up super high to slam into it? Like,
No, I got bookshelves all around the room too. So he just
Oh.
jumps from the bed on top of one of them and then goes over to the doorway. And because the house was built 200 years ago, there's very thick like mantling around the doors. So he just kind of leans out from the bookshelf, gets one front paw on there, and then leans out and smacks at the dream catcher with the other paw. Sometimes he falls. Then it's hilarious.
Yeah. You just need to leave a box underneath and he'll be more distracted by the box eventually.
Yeah, I can read Sylph. I can read. Early on.
But he asked if you could read. Oh wait, yeah, but you said you couldn't read.
I got a text.
You can read.
Sarah is watching.
Uh-oh. Run, everybody scatter.
Turn off the lights. It's just like,
That'll fool her.
boop.
Change
I'm
the
gone. You can't see me
subject.
now.
Okay, nobody move. Her vision is based on movement.
And you've just messed up the setup, huh?
Damn it. I moved.
Oh, we're on the wrong place now.
So yeah, my character can read Sylph, which is great because early on in a few early games, my character said he has read books. So I'm glad that I can back that up with stuff on my character sheet.
It would be awesome though if he said that and he was just trying to brag quietly, even though he was like, I don't know how to read, but they don't need
They
to
were
know
picture
that.
books.
Yeah. I read books all the time. Really? What was the last book you read?
There was one about a cat with a hat.
Yeah. It was very, very mischievous.
The Rolling Stones. Is that a book?
Book?
Is that a book?
Rolling Stones book? That one?
The last book I read was Transformers the movie. The book.
It would be. It's funnier that you said Rolling Stones because your character is a Stone
Oh yeah, there
Age.
you go. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I wrote
see-
a book on it, how
I got
stones
rocks on the
roll.
brain.
I just, whenever he talked about his character history, he said that he was trained by earth spirits, but I pictured the spirits from Brave that turned her mom into a bear or whatever.
Oh.
I was picturing those, the things that they turn into rocks, right?
Oh, the will-o-wisps?
wait, doesn't
Or am I
Corey's
I
mom
might be
do that?
confusing a couple of
I think it was
these.
a potion that
Frozen
turned her
had the
mom
little
into a
like
bear.
rock guys.
Yeah, there was little rock guys.
In
They would
Frozen.
roll. They would turn into rocks. They like fold over. It'd be rocks.
Oh, yeah.
And stand up, and
Yeah,
they were kind of like
Frozen.
troll dolls.
That's Frozen, I thought.
Was that Frozen?
Yeah.
Have I combined
Frozen.
my Pixar or whatever movies?
Not not
I clearly
Pixar.
never rewatch and don't remember much because I wasn't paying attention to these movies. I was sitting with children at the time.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
I have combined Frozen and Brave. I don't really know what happened in any of those movies.
It was a mess.
It was
I
the
can
one
tell
with
you
the
that.
girl with the like red.
That was
Red
Brave.
hair?
That was Brave.
Yeah, Brave. I love that.
Elsa,
movie,
who
actually.
doesn't give an F anymore, that's Frozen.
I have never seen Frozen, but I have seen Brave, and Brave was actually really good. And I'm not usually somebody who likes Disney movies.
Actually, I think that the
I
girl
love
from
Brave.
Brave would make a good Fiona.
Yeah, she's perfect for the role. Yeah,
You just need to paint some blue on her face.
and then she's a pick warrior.
I do love the Brave memes where she is, she says stuff and you can't understand what she says because it's way too Scottish.
I haven't seen that, but that's funny.
All right, back to the game, hopefully.
All right, so you all begin pouring through books. There is 2 in Vallanthia, 1 in Sylph, and then the other 4 are in Elysian. Y'all can decide who reads what. If y'all want to read them, I don't care.
I'll start
Anybody
with the
who would like to do
Elysian
research
text.
can make a scholar check. If you have an appropriate skill to add to it, let me know what it is, and I'll tell you if you can add it.
I'll do the one in Sylph because that is the language I can speak, and then therefore I am contributing.
Okay.
If there's
also-
anything in Terran, I could probably read something. Otherwise, I'm
Mine.
probably just gotta be banging 2 rocks against each other.
Oh wait, hold
Sylph
on.
is also the only one I can read, but I don't have much in the way of scholarly ability, so I'll let White Ape do it.
I don't have scholarly abilities too. Maybe we should like read it together, like hacking together. We're both on the same keyboard.
Just he pulls the book in half and hands half to her. It's like, I'll search this half.
We're like,
You take the odd numbers, I'll take the even numbered
we
pages.
start paging
heads
back and forth with
to
both
each
of our
other.
hands. And...
Why does it not make sense? I feel like I'm missing information.
Okay, I guess I'll make an intellect roll. I have 2 dice.
right.
Let's see how well this works out for me.
2 dice is all I got too, so whichever of us.
Whoa, look at that. A 13.
That's not bad. It's all right. There it is. For some reason, I couldn't get to flip over to let me see your all's rolls. All right. Cool. With a 13, as you're looking, I'll get to everyone. We're apparently just starting with White Ape. As you're looking through, you're going through the one that is in in Sylph. Oh, you know what? I will go ahead and volunteer her because she speaks Vallanthian. Esri will be the one reading that book. Hi, Sarah. Don't be mad at me for anything dumb we said earlier. It's Corey's fault.
He
Anyway.
prepped us before the game and told us to be misogynistic.
So, Corey, as White Ape is reading,
Now, Tarek, you know he doesn't use 4-syllable words like that.
True, he told us to be manly.
all right. So, as White Ape, all right, is Corey speaking? I keep seeing his mouth move.
what were you saying, Howard? What am I looking for?
Okay, as you're reading the book that's in Sylph, you do find there. Of course, these were selected because they all mention demons. As you're reading it, the first thing you'll notice with that roll is that it wasn't written by Wild Elves or the Sylvanar. It was written by the Holdafolk. And you figure that out both because of the way the words are written. It's like you can almost hear the accent that you hear from your friend when he is speaking Sylph, Erda. And as you're going through it, there is you find one mention of a power stone, but it's not really named, but there's some sort of a stone of power that can be used to augment and protect against demons. Basically creating a demonic circle or a circle of protection against demonic influence. If you do it with this stone, there's a whole ritual, add on to a ritual that supposedly if you do it with the stone, you can then carry the stone and borrow the power from the circle and just like have it in your pocket so that you are protected.
Is that the
And
same,
you're like, man, I need one of these special rocks they got.
is
But
that
you don't know what it is, or it doesn't really make any sense to you beyond
is there
that.
a stone in the staff?
The staff appears to be
Don't
made
know.
of a solid metal. It looks gold, but at the top there's a sphere, but it's like it just kind of bows open in and comes up as a sphere, but it still seems to be just one solid piece of metal.
Okay, so
You
there's no
don't see a stone
in
unless
there.
it's inside the gold, maybe.
I don't know. I'll ask him if there's anything like a stone of power inside of his staff.
I'm not actually the constructor of the staff. I've never cracked it open for fear that I would destroy the magic inside.
Release the magic.
Well, with a artifact of this power, breaking it open to see how it works is worth something, but for the fear of losing it, it's not worth that. to me at the moment. But once all the demons are defeated and driven back to hell, I'd absolutely like to crack it open and see what makes it tick.
So this book doesn't.
Oh, by the way, it ticks. Tick, tick. No, that does not.
It explodes. This Stone of Power that I'm reading, does it say where you can find one, who makes them, or where?
It does not. It is a weird reference that you find in there.
Does it say who usually has these stones of power? Like, who would carry a stone of power, or where this man who's talking about it found the stone of power?
I'll tell you what, to read into it, like read between the lines, is technically a streetwise. If you'd like to make an acumen check.
Mm-hmm.
That's decent enough. All right.
Oh, don't roll it again.
Oh, I got lower. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, the game decides you don't get to that. No, but with the 14, it's more like the way they're referencing it is more like just go and grab a cup of milk and add it to the ingredients. You know, it's not something that sounds like it's necessarily, you know, go on a quest to find this. It's more like go to your cabinet and get it type of, but you're not real sure. It assumes you already have it. I guess is the best way to put it.
Well, it's a stone, and I do stones. So
it is a stone, but you have not heard of a stone that stores magic. That sounds insane. Because, I mean, you know how to store magic in a stone, but this doesn't sound like anything to do with earth magic. But you could create an effect, put it in a stone, and just hold the effect and have the stone do the thing later if you wanted. That's just how magic works. But that would count as a held magic ability on you.
This sounds
distracting
something
you from other stuff.
This is something I'll have to talk to Earthmaster Grange about.
Possibly.
Grange.
All right. The other people looking into it, we're going to do Esri last because she's not really here. So we're going to go with Tarek, I assume.
Yeah, I'll go next, considering Tom's not here, because I assume Tom would read something. Well, can he read?
No, he would be reading in the Terran language, which is
that yeah, I would imagine he can't even fully speak Vallanthia yet.
And none of the books were in Terran.
Okay. All right, yeah, then I'll start with the Elysian, because I do speak, I think, all the languages you listed. Read, except for Vallanthia. I don't read Vallanthian, but I read Sylph and I read.
I read Common. Screw that, but all the weird stuff.
Yeah, I can even read Reptilite, which is funny. But yeah, I also have the specialization in.
I can read Reptilite, and I totally understand their oral tradition.
Yeah,
because that's just how it works, man.
Because the genie said so. I also have a necromancy specialization in my scholar skill. I don't know if that is relevant.
I'll tell you what. Roll one die, or I'll roll one die. You just say odd or even.
Even.
Because there are multiple books. You say even?
Even.
No. Okay. So no, it's not relevant.
So instead of that many die. Oh, okay, that's not bad. I was like, oh, the 6 came out first and the 1 came out last. Son of a bitch.
But actually, it was the 2, and it
exactly
did not screw you quite the way you were afraid.
Yeah, I was fearing for real. Okay, 15 is not terrible.
It's not bad. As you're reading through it, you find this one has a lot of the lore of demons. Essentially, you read that there are several layers to the realms that they call that we being humans would refer to as hell realms. Humans or humanoids. That's what would translate to from the Elysian. You also in those different realms, you understand that different types of demons use different types of magic. They're probably associated with different realms. There are demons that are associated completely with the death magic or necromancy. There are demons that are completely associated with a corruption magic. And you've heard of these a little bit, and this actually does expand your knowledge a little on that, which is the black magics, which are the demons that make a pact with someone, not unlike a D&D warlock or old school,
Oh.
just the witch, the
Yeah.
from real human legends in the real world. Just the the woman has like a familiar or maybe like an extra nipple somewhere that attaches to some demon and gives her power. It's that
Yeah.
is the black magics, and the types of powers they get are kind of insane. And as you read through that, you start reading that the stuff that involves necromancy, because it wasn't a book directly about that. That's why I didn't allow your thing to apply. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. You didn't need that to read this, But as you're going over it, what you do get as you're going through it is that the necromantic realm itself is a like cold wasteland filled with dead and dying, or things that are dead or undead, not dying, but undead and dead. And their existence there is almost moot, because the powers that be, the demons that are there, draw soul life from our world to become more powerful, and they use that to fuel the things that are over there to make armies. And they want to do that here too, but essentially when they draw in all this soul energy to animate the dead, to create armies, to take over, they can put the dead together in weird ways. They can make these like abominations of like just parts put together to make new creatures, or they can just raise up an army of zombies and send them to attack. All of that stuff, all that classic necromancy stuff is in there.
And I'm assuming they also keep each other in check in a sense by jealously attacking one another.
Yeah, not unlike the Blood War that is in D&D. Yeah, it's kind of that is happening. There are creatures that want to take over all the realms, but mostly they've, after discovering, and I'll give you this too from the book as a whole as you're reading, after the discovery of our world, which happened like 1,000 years ago or something, from what you're reading, a long time ago, they discovered our world after some sort of cosmic event, and they had like demons of every realm had been solely focused on getting here because their realms are fused up. They've fused up all that power in their wars with each other, and they've eaten it all up, and they want to come here because we are a big, fresh, tasty morsel. They want all the energy that's here, but the problem is getting here is hard. That's why they do things like send out little pieces of information to get people to start doing things to alter the landscape here, to give them a portal to come over.
This is the plot of Transformers.
I will have to take your word for it, because I guess I haven't seen all the movies, or I wasn't able to keep watching because they're awful.
This is the plot of the original cartoon of Transformers.
No, they came over in a spaceship called the Ark.
They used up their planet of all of its energy and then came to Earth to plunder Earth of all of its precious resources.
Yeah, but
that's a common trope in lots of stories.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's also the main plot of Doom.
Say Doom or Dune?
Doom, the video game franchise, and kind of Dune too, because Dune spice is what makes them be able to go. So everyone not having spice and having to go to Arrakis in the first place. So kind of, it's all shows, really. It's everything.
It's all things to all people.
All right, so that is what you find out with that book.
So I was gonna say, my character, as he's reading, if anybody else is like paying attention to him, which if it would have to be anyone who's not also immediately reading, but as he's reading through, he just gets more and more entranced by the book and starts looking like he's reading a thriller story, like some kind of sci-fi thriller. But instead, it's really him just being super fucking nervous at this point, because it sounds very familiar to a lot of the stuff he was injected, the knowledge was injected into him, and the stuff that he does now, and he's very worried.
That's how I want.
Actually,
are we gonna see Malfrost, and then he's gonna be like, "Hello, you fool! I was the one who set this all in motion." Oh no! I'm a sleeper agent. I didn't even know. So he's like being paranoid, reading through the book, like with a paranoid fascination, I guess is the best way to describe it.
All right. Airdrek speaks Elysian, and we'll thumb through one of the books.
Oh yeah, he can speak Elysian.
Mm-hmm. He's not a scholar, but he can speak it. So he's like, well, so everybody else is looking at a book. I'm gonna look at a book. Hey,
Feel bad for him because
he stares at a picture for a while.
Yeah. He's like birdie. Birdie.
Actually, you know what? He finds a picture that looks like a similar type of demon to Valrukar, and he just gets mad and stares after a while, slams the book closed.
Yeah. It's like the scene from Kung Pao where they open up the scroll and the guy's like birdie, birdie, tiger, birdie. It just goes from crane to tiger to crane.
ooh, birdie.
Birdie again.
Kung Pao is like one of the best movies of all time.
The tiny net is deadly.
All right. While she's reading, Esri, you can't see her lips move as she reads. She's still new to reading this language, but you can't tell she's moving her lips because it's really dark.
It's just hard to see anyway.
And after a little while, as y'all are going through your stuff and starting to come up with your thing, she'll start speaking up as well. But first, I'm going to Adrian.
She'll start doing that thing where she pronounces words wrong because she's only ever read them.
Well, she
That-
speaks
that was-
Vallanthia fine.
That was me so hard when I was growing up, man. The person who's always saying words wrong and getting made fun of. It was a hard
Yeah.
lesson to learn.
I feel you, Tarek. It was the same thing for me. Learning from Polish to English.
Well, I went from nonverbal to verbal, and it was just bad.
You can, if you can speak Polish, I'm impressed because that entire language is unpronounceable.
It's just like a shit ton of syllables. followed by
I need
one
to
another.
practice again.
Look, I have a Polish background. I have the one good Polish joke. What does a Polish man give to his bride on his wedding day that is long and hard?
The last name.
Her life.
Yeah,
A broom?
Oh,
His name. It's his name. I've told the joke to Howard before. I just
It's an old joke. I know I've heard it before.
from me. I tell
Okay.
it.
Anyway,
But the
That's
people out
awesome.
there watching this show, they've never heard that joke, and now they have.
I don't have a
slightly
good
racist.
joke
Good
about
job,
having-
Corey.
I don't have a good joke about
Slightly
having a
racist.
Middle Eastern name.
It's self-deprecating.
I thought your mom was German.
My mother is German. My father is Polish.
Oh, that's right. I never met him.
I don't have a good anecdote for saying that I have an Arabic name, but I do have a good anecdote about why I'm named the name I'm named. But it's a long anecdote, so I'm not going to say it.
Great. Good story.
Look forward to hearing it later on a podcast episode of me explaining my birth name. It's from the podcast series Tarek explains his birth name, and it is on the 57th episode of me explaining my birth name.
All right. So
That's it for my stand-up tonight.
Ezra begins to explain, well, this book is not that great. It's mostly about the view of the light on demons. It sounds like it could have been written by, she double checks. Sounds like it could have been written by Balthier, but it's not.
A lot of metaphors.
But
Really late on thick.
But basically what it says is that, you know, demons are bad and they're trying to come here, and they've been trying to do it since something unpronounceable in a language I don't understand. And that's not very helpful. She looks at it as I don't know. I do not know what this is because it's not in a language she speaks. So at least that word is not. Beyond that, she goes through a little bit more and says, like, there's very little here that we don't already know, except that they do admit in the book that the actual light of the sun doesn't seem to have an effect on demons. kind of puts their whole the light is here to guide us, protect us, and make our plants grow, and somehow fight demons doesn't work.
Ah.
Does the other stuff, maybe makes plants grow.
But it was described as a cart full of butter is terrible.
Yeah,
What?
exactly. The bad metaphor.
You'd rather have a cart full of hay.
Okay.
I
I find that stupidly funny. I'm sorry.
it's the Snuggie. It's having an effect on you. Um,
If she'll show you the word since you seem to be able to read everything, and it is an Elysian, and it's oculum umbrosus.
Oculum umbrosus. Can you spell the last one? I can spell oculum.
You probably can't because it's spelled weird, but
Oh, okay, well
Is
then
that like
spell it for me.
Is that like
Okay.
a power stone?
She doesn't know what you're talking about.
Oculum is something visual.
You're
Ocu.
right.
Oh, well,
But here's the
Elysium's
name
just
of the
Latin.
thing. It's in the chat.
Oh, so you were 100% right. I am would never have spelled this.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I might have spelled the last one right, but the first one totally not.
Oculum, like you're looking at thing. Umbrosus, as in like the umbra,
Shadow.
as in like otherworldly, as in like
Umbra means shadow.
shadow.
Means shadow.
Looking
Yeah.
at shadows. There you go. Look at that.
Or shadow vision, which is something like blinding vision. It could be something like that.
Elysium's just Latin. That's all it is. We got this.
Pretty much. That's all it is. You got it.
It's a beautiful language.
Um,
The root of all romance.
the root of all romance?
Yeah,
Yeah,
languages,
romantic
but
languages.
still.
Languages, but all romance, all of it.
Yeah, all romance languages.
Sure. I like it.
Oculum umbrosus. And she said this was the reference in the book, but what was the context?
Essentially, you remember earlier I mentioned that there was a cosmological event
Yes.
wherein demons found our world. That's the name of it.
Oh, this is the event itself.
Yep. It was a celestial alignment where essentially it's like there were more stars than there should be for a little while. And during that time, there was from the legend. In fact, I'll tell you what, in one of the other books that he's reading, actually, he didn't even need to read it. He just puts his book down and explains it to you. Kyle Ellis just tells you, at one point, there were more stars in the sky than there should have been. And it was as if they lit up a large eye in the sky, from what I've read. I'm not that old. But this eye, while it was in the sky, is when certain types of magic came here. The Terran magic was already here, that which is used by the elementalists. But
Yeah, thonic magic.
no, I'm sorry. He looks at you.
Thonic? Like, I'm the winterborn Thonian.
That is not what Chthonian means, but interesting.
Yes, it does. It means of the earth.
Oh, sure it does. We'll let you believe that. Anyway, the Terran magic, which definitely means of the earth, actually refers to all of the elements that are a part of this land, fire, earth, etc. That was here first, but the demonic magics began to come here through the influence of that celestial event, as well as demons themselves. For a while, demons did run rampant, but most of them began to vanish after the event passed. While some seemed to stay behind, most were gone, as if they weren't able to stay. Or maybe they chose to leave. I really wasn't there. As for Chthonian, that word has different meaning than you think.
Really?
I have a book on it if you'd like.
Yeah. Okay. Isn't it Sylph?
In the real world, it means subterranean.
Yeah. Earthen.
It means other things too in the real world.
So the chthonic gods were Greek gods that were part of the earth, like Gaia is a chthonic god. Hades was also a chthonic god.
I'm aware of these things,
Oh.
and also it has other meanings in the real world too.
Well,
And also on top of that, I'm telling you, you're incorrect. You are being told this in character.
I know.
Okay.
He's like, well, my mother gave me that word as my. She.
Well, I did not mean to disparage your mother. If you feel that way, I apologize.
I thought it. Well, what does it mean?
I mean, it is not. You're not entirely wrong when you said subterranean, but not earthen, as in a natural form. More of a. Well, I have books. It would be better if you read it yourself, but I'd be more than happy to read it. Do you read Sylph? Yes. I can. I do
read
have some
Sylph.
in Sylph.
I can read Sylph.
I am Lucifer. Oh, most of my books are in Sylph. I prefer it. Of course, all of his books are in a very flowery prose version of Sylph, which is annoying to read. Unless you are one of Lucifer, it's sort of like being forced to read Shakespeare when you just want to read how to make a cake. And why would they put this in iambic pentameter? Just tell me what you need to put in the cake.
But it's funner this way.
Actually, a lot of old cooking books were kind of like that.
Were they really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's weird, but okay. Shakespearean cooking.
So
Oh,
yeah,
joke.
I'll read those.
With weird descriptions.
He rings the little bell, and Nathan appears after a moment. He names off a couple of titles, and Nathan just nods and goes to get them.
Do we have time?
Unfortunately, I'm having actually. I need a roll for him, see if he finds anything specifically about Malfrost, because that was the whole point of all this, and I didn't actually roll. Not air direct. What's his name? Carlos. Whoever these people are. So many people in here. All right. His scholar roll is actually fairly high. That would be 8 dice. Okay. He goes through the remaining books, and he does that thing where he just runs the finger down the page and flips, and you're like, he's not reading. That's bullcrap. But after y'all are finished going through yours, he's on like the third book of what he was looking through, and he stops and goes, I found it. The creature you're looking for, I found a reference to him. It's not terribly descriptive, but we're looking for the name of one particular demon in however many there are over there. He's listed as an archduke of the plane of death. Beyond that, well, this is helpful. His followers, if someone pledges their soul to him, this is an interesting ritual. Surprised this is in here and not scratched out. All right. Well, if someone has pledged their soul to him, they will have a very disturbing power to reach forth towards you and apparently draw a bit of your soul into themselves, leaving you cold. It just says cold. I assume it's worse than a chill, but beyond that, and that somehow that power that they draw from you will empower them, but it doesn't explain exactly what that means.
So that's what happened earlier when we were all feeling cold. Is that our souls
I don't
were
know.
leaving our body?
If you invoked his name, that the power that you felt came from him,
Right.
not one of his followers.
Right. But if he gives it to his followers, wouldn't it be reasonable that he would have that power?
Well, I mean, he would have that power. Okay, like let's say I have 20 powers and I give my followers 1. I still have the same 20, but when you invoke my name, I could use all 20, assuming I'm a demon.
Right.
So I'm not saying he didn't use one of those powers. Maybe he took some power from you if you felt that.
I felt
But
cold.
it's also possible he did something else. I don't know. And he probably has more than 20. He's an archduke. They're quite powerful.
What does that mean? Is that like a rating of power, or is that like a rating? Do other demons give him taxes?
I think that is both a rating. They have a might makes right society. They fight for dominance. If one has reached a title of that level, they are quite powerful or quite clever or both. Have you familiar with a child's game called King of the Hill?
Yeah.
That's pretty much their entire nobility system.
Okay.
The arena fight that I was supposed to take a dive in was actually going to be a King of the Hill event.
Well, then you should be quite familiar with the concept. Although I imagine you weren't using scary demonic powers on each other.
No, mostly tridents and nets.
There's a weird section of demons that do use tridents. It's very odd. Not real sure what the cross section is there or why.
They're pointy and have long reach.
I suppose. Maybe they're the ones that can't just point at you and light you on fire. I'm not sure. There are some demons that can, of course, do that.
Are there any cemeteries or regions in the area that are particularly good for seeing the stars? Places that would be associated with death, mind you.
Inside the walls, there are no cemeteries. There is, of course, that one that I told you about, the building where they look at dead bodies and do whatever they do. They inter them there for a while, and then they either burn them or put them out in the cemetery outside the wall. Actually, I believe both of the cities outside the wall have cemeteries near them that include the Vallanthia proper's dead. If you'll remember, actually, that is way back in the first game, Corey accessed one of those cemeteries and dumped a bunch of bodies in it.
I did.
Yeah, I remember 100%. That's why I was asking about it.
Are there catacombs in Vallanthia?
That was going to be my exact. That was the second thing I was about to ask. That was exactly what I was about to ask to follow up the question.
There are, let's see, the two rings that are innermost, the one where the actual castle is and the one where most of the richest people live, including me. But yes, we have a working system of tunnels beneath us for waste, although my particular castle is not attached. I have my own thing going. As you've probably noticed, the architecture here is mine. If you'll remember, you walked into a small cylindrical building that is way bigger on the inside, so it's easy to imagine that you're probably not in a normal space.
He poops into a poop portal.
Yes, you're actually in the sewer right now. It's just a nice illusion covering it. You're all just standing in sludge. Everybody's got
Yeah,
staph infection.
We're all sitting on trash and with sludge water going through our feet.
I wasn't saying that. I was like, he has a toilet, but there's a portal in the toilet, and if the poop goes into the portal, and it's a poop portal, and it just kind of
It's those demonic teleportation runes on the toilet. He just pees into the rune, just gone. And some demon in hell. He's doing it again.
Yeah. I was gonna say not a demon. That's just some poor son of a bitch's punishment for all eternity. Just stuck there getting pissed and shit on by the room.
I feel like we used this entire system of jokes before.
I think we have.
Using the teleportation.
I love the poop portal. Okay.
It's worthy of a repeat. Okay. It's a full circle thing.
Oh,
Full circle.
there's yeah, got
So
it.
the ultimate
Full
torture is to
circle.
take this rune.
It's another shitty joke.
So the ultimate torture is take this rune and put it on someone's ass, but put the other rune on their mouth. So every time they poop, it just
You're
goes
just
right back
making
in.
a magical human centipede, is what you're doing.
That would be a horrifying thing to unleash on
That's-
players in a D&D, a horror D&D game.
That's not a human
Like-
centipede. That's a human Ouroboros.
Yes, yeah, definitely that.
No, that would be where your mouth was had a portal directly to eat your ass. So it wasn't
That's
in
what I
your
said.
ass. Well, no, you said it was the poop came out and fell directly back into their mouth. I'm
We are-
saying you have to actually be mouth to ass at this point. So it puts your mouth.
We are really,
Out your ass.
really splitting this
We
out
got to be
here.
specific on the logistics of how this magic works, Corey. Otherwise, how will they homebrew it into their D&D game?
Although you could centipede it by putting one portal to the next person's mouth and so on.
You could, and then it's a true centipede. Then it's a horror show, really.
As
I'm telling you,
centipede
it's
was.
a great one shot for your D&D games on a Halloween.
You say one shot, I'll point out there were sequels.
Oh, that's crazy. I still can't believe there's sequels of Human Centipede, dude.
Next
Oh,
time
that's
you
great.
now you're thinking with portals. Don't.
Even the demons at this point are like, this is not our magic.
Graduated Aperture Science Department. Like,
You know, I may have come up from filth. I may live in a hell realm, but this is not how I wanted my magic used.
Yes. I was told there would be cake. This is not cake. The cake is a lie. Like,
yeah, we had to go with portal jokes.
All right.
Yeah, there were 3 Human Centipede movies all told.
Ugh.
And as y'all spent the entire afternoon reading books,
Or
food
in
was
my case,
continuously
enjoying
brought-
a very nice wine.
food was continuously brought and offered by the goblin or goblinoid thing, Nathan.
Yeah, I keep
anyone who
snacking
wants to partake can. Anyone who doesn't want to partake doesn't have to.
Yeah, I just keep,
Eventually, I do,
partaking of-
just because we're here long enough that I'm going to get hungry.
Yeah, I eat as many elf berries and lambus bread as I can.
All right.
Lambus bread, that's 1 bite. You're done for the whole day.
Yeah, but I'm being greedy, so I'm just gonna keep on going.
oh, by the way, I did look up what would happen if you tattoo like a snake or a reptile. Does anybody want to know?
Kills them instantly.
So you can tattoo them, but since their scales shed, that it wouldn't be permanent because they would just shed the scales until the pigment's gone. But they do have like a regular dermis, like a skin like we have, but it's underneath opaque scales. So if you tattoo that, you wouldn't see the tattoo anyways. So it's just not, you can't tattoo a snake.
It's not efficient. Yeah.
Or anything else that sheds its full body skin.
Otherwise, yeah, the scales are not a hindrance to adding the color. It's just the fact that the color would go away.
That's wild. Is snakes?
Yeah, in fact, there are some snake forgers out there that will tattoo different lines on a snake in order to sell it for higher value than the actual species is worth.
Wow. That's
That sounds very abusive.
so. Do I read
It is.
the books on chthonic stuff? Or
You're
chthonic stuff?
welcome to stay there and continue reading.
But
At this
everybody's
point,
leaving.
y'all are done with the research you intended to do.
Yes.
Do you want to sit there and keep reading? I mean, there's
I
nothing
would
stopping
like to understand what everybody else thinks chthonic means.
you. Okay, well, most people have never heard the word. So there you got that going. The 2 books he brings you, one of them is bound in a weird light leather and has no wording on it on the outside, and the other one is a really old tome, and it looks like there was an intricate like gold inlay pattern on the front, most of which has been flaked off, and the part that was actually inlaid into the leather, most of it's broken out. You can just see like bends in the leather where it used to be, but it looked like a complex like maze looking circle on the front of it that looks like it might have been really interesting if it were still there, but most of it, like I say, is gone. Which one would you like to pick up first? Or just odd or even it, or
I'll pick up the older one, and then I'll shove the other one over towards Erda.
okay.
Yeah.
When I eventually get bored of
I'm down.
all this reading because I'm not doing any of it and I've finished my wine, I get up and take a step over to where it's a clear space over like here and start practicing with my trident a bit.
All right. You know what? Because of her military training and the fact that this would get boring for her too, Ezreal offered to spar with you for a while if you'd like. But I won't do actual rolls on her behalf because I don't know if she'd be real thrilled with that. But if you'd like to just practice some moves, you can see what her military style looks like compared to your gladiator style.
Yeah, I'm a lot more flamboyant. She's a lot more practical.
I imagine they
Pretty
both are like sparring in the room, and then like knock over a bunch of shit on the like the bookshelf knocks over some fancy vase or whatever.
No,
And
I
then he
will
looks
say
up
at one
on-
point, as she
At
gets
one-
really into the different katas and different moves that she's doing while sparring with you, you'll see her draw a shadow dagger, but you don't see that it was drawn from anywhere. It seems to almost appear in her hand. And when she flicks it towards you and you deflect it, it goes into a bookshelf and then vanishes, leaving just a hole in the bookshelf. Just whoops. And there's this from Nathan. Comes over and starts measuring the holes, and then he leaves to go get tools.
Poor
Tom,
Nathan.
we thought Tom was paying gripping attention to us this entire time. He's been totally asleep, but we don't know. No idea.
Because none of us can tell about his.
I'll just probably add to the fact that maybe the holes in the bookshelf caught his attention, and he's like, maybe I'll fix it up.
What do you mean? What do you mean you were asleep the entire time? Every time we talked to you, you would respond with, That's just how that. You mean I'm snoring? I don't know. I had snoring problems.
Or worse, he's sporing.
Oh God.
Yeah,
children,
everybody's gonna have a
no.
mushroom baby now because they breathe the air.
Yeah. Oh God. This is
You don't
how
wanna know
my
where it comes
saves
out.
breed.
At
I'm
one
a
point
man.
during the
How am I
sparring,
pregnant?
I end up on the table and doing a
Congratulations, your
flip
lungs are now
over,
pregnant.
over White Ape.
Well, what do these books say?
I mean, if you're gonna read them cover to cover, I won't require the scholar roll, but you're gonna be here for like days. They're thick tomes.
Right. Let's
So go ahead and make your scholarly checks.
Scholarly checks. I made a 4. I have no idea what this book says.
All right. Was it the thick leather or the one with the embossed thingy on it?
The older
Or the
one.
maze on it.
The maze book.
All right, you look through that one first, and as you're going through it, stuff I will give you. There is references in here to ancient creatures and beings of great power that have lived here beyond the time that the elves remember. In other words, the elves don't know if they were here first, but they don't remember seeing them come. They believe they were already here, because something that I'll give y'all as elf lore is that you believe that your origins, for anyone who is elven, you believe that your origins extend back to the lands of the Fae. From what you can tell, for everything you've read today, the time that the demon realm crossed over would definitely have been after the Feywilds affected this place. This place being the entire world.
Right. So
elves came first, and then demon magic.
Later.
So elf magic, that weird elf magic, was here before
Yes.
demon magic. Okay.
So
They first.
You're
then
saying,
demons.
from what I'm
But
getting,
whatever yours is, or well, not your name is related to, is older than
yes,
Elven.
yes, they are the primordial beings of this world. Are the Thonians, and that's what I'm named after. Excellent. My mother knows
But
more
it
than me.
doesn't. But as you go through it, well, you didn't roll very high.
No, but
You don't
but
necessarily
Tarek did.
see anything that contradicts.
All right. Well, Tarek did roll high, so
Oh, did Terry?
yeah, I
Okay.
gave him a book.
I rolled a 13.
Okay. Are you reading the same book or the other book?
The opposite book. He tossed me the other one.
Okay. That book talks more in depth about these ancient powered creatures. That book is more like a how to serve them and awaken their power, and it is it's hard to read, not because you can't read it. It's hard to read because the book itself is ancient and the writing is faded. But from what you can tell, this is prayers to and rituals relating to these creatures. And other than they are ancient, they're super powerful. Seeing them in their true form should drive people insane. They are super scary, and they may have come from space or something. It's very complex.
So I have a question for you.
But they
I don't know
are.
if I should.
Okay,
I don't know if I don't know if I should send it via the Roll20 thing or
Yeah,
not.
you can whisper it to me on Roll20. You can text me. You can call my phone.
I'll
whatever
whisper
you'd
it
like
to
to
you.
do. If you call my phone, we should both mute ourselves and let everybody else talk.
I mean, I guess the Thonic gods are the Cthulian gods then, from what you're describing to Tarek. Yes, eyebrows mean eye. That's what they are.
Gee, I wonder how many insanities Tarek's character is going to gain just from looking at this book.
It was written by somebody named Alhazred. No, I'm just kidding. It was not. I'm not
The
going to
Mad
directly
Monk.
rip off anything. Okay, let me answer that, guys. Sorry, just a moment.
Talking about kids. Yeah, yeah.
So the answer is it's up to you.
Okay. So, while I'm researching, then what I'll be doing is I'll be taking extensive notes.
Mhm.
Just like a ton of notes. Very, very. I understand if you would say that it takes me even longer to research.
It will. Also, I
How-
need you to make a scholar check to be sure and copy over the important parts and also translate the correctly what the stuff that you can only half read. You know, like if you see like half a word and you're like, I think this word is this, and you put it
Yeah.
in your notes.
I gotta use context clues and try to figure this out.
Right. Make you a
I
scholar
also
check.
have the advantage quick study.
Oh, that's true. You do.
Yeah. So
I think that would just be to help make everybody not wait as long as you make your notes.
exactly. But there's my scholar roll.
All right, that's a decent roll. Let me make a note in my stuff, and then we will move on from this.
Sure.
Okay, my note is there. That's it. Unless y'all have anything else you want to do here. I mean, Nathan keeps bringing food.
I'm like, Erda, are you done with that book?
Oh yes.
So what does my name mean?
It implies some kind of primordialism.
That's what I got too from mine.
So you're a primordial one.
No.
You think your family is descended from them?
What? What are you talking about? It's a name.
Font names specific?
What do you?
Why would your mother name you after something like that?
Well, that's the question, right? My mother's an interesting.
She's a very powerful and influential person, though.
I don't think so. but thanks.
Hmm.
I mean, she, got she left the Sylvan Society. She went her own way. I mean,
I'm just saying, you seem to have a problem with fate, and I feel as though um, perhaps your name forebodes something quite interesting. Who knows? Maybe you're destined for greatness.
well, that's goes without saying.
Of course, of course.
Let's
How
get out of
foolish
here.
of
We have a
me.
mortician to shake down.
Oh yes, yes, of course.
All right. Everybody in on this? You're all going to go head over to the mortician. It is now
Sure.
past sunset.
Yeah, that's the perfect time to do it. I go
Yes.
get the greatest of
That
all
is when the
time.
morticians come out.
Yeah.
Yes. The sun is set. Time for all
Bring
the
out your
morticians.
dead.
That's when the specials are run. It's effectively mortician happy hour, equivalent. You're gonna go and do something with a corpse. That's the time to go.
Sounds good to me. All right. I'm going to say everybody minus Scott Ellis is going to go check out the mortician.
Mhm.
Yeah, we thank
And-
Kyle Ellis for all of his help with what we're doing.
Well, I do wish you the best. And if you find out more information, I would like to be kept informed. I think that's a fair trade. To know what's going on demonic in this city is actually my job. I get paid for that. And beyond that, the goodbyes. Make your way over to the mortician. He does give you basic directions to the place. It's not that far. It is 1 ring lower than the super rich people and 2 rings lower than the castle because nobody wants that happening there.
But they also don't want it so far that they can't claim the bodies of their loved ones.
Well, they want access to the knowledge of what's going on. They want the person that's in charge of it to be able to relate to them what's going on. They want to know if their loved ones were murdered. This is basically an important place. They don't want it too far. They don't want it near them either. It's gross. It's morbid. And there you go. So you go to the place, and it is just a normal looking building, big stone, large wooden door. I think I've said it before, but most of the buildings in Vallanthia, or in the city at least, have really high ceilings when you go in. You get the feeling just from the outside this is going to be like most of those. Also, the door is a good like 9 feet tall, and it's like a double door, and it is not. There are handles on it, but if you try it, you will see that it is currently closed from the inside. There's something is stopping it from opening from the inside.
Wonder if they're trying to keep what's inside out, or
What?
what's outside in. Wait,
Something botched. He's been thinking real hard all day with those intellect rolls.
no,
His
I feel
brain's
like my
on
character.
vacation.
I did that on purpose because I feel like my character is like completely distracted at this point because of what he was reading and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it was a conscious decision to go with.
Esri gives you like the arched eyebrow, and nobody can see it.
Wonder if they're
Well, she's
trying-
always the one who's on to me whenever I say something weird or do something weird.
Wonder if they're trying to keep something upside down. Oh.
All right. Maybe we could knock, says Esri.
Good idea. And if knocking doesn't work, I'll have Rudel knock.
And if Rudol's knocking doesn't wake whoever's up in there to come and answer the freaking door, Then we'll just have Tom sneak in there with his pod ability.
Erda. Rudel's gonna knock the door in.
Oh. Oh. I see. I thought you intended to have him actually knock, which I thought was bizarre, but who knows? You were a very good animal trainer. I would not be surprised to learn that he had a trick up his sleeve. As such.
Yes. I ask him what 2 + 2 is, and he beats his hoof 4 times.
I saw that the other day, and it was very vexing to me.
What magic is this?
What kind of devilry is this?
It's a Thonian. I gain insanity points. It's a
The madness.
knock.
Okay. You cast knock, and the door swings. No, I'm just kidding.
Excellent.
Wrong game.
That would be sweet.
That I don't ever use that spell because I think it said you need a 50 gold piece gem every time you use it.
You do, yeah.
I was like, what?
But
That's ridiculous.
It could be worth it only in the circumstance where you need to open a chest.
Like if I were going to be a
treasure.
dick, I'd have exactly 25 gold in every chest.
All in copper pieces.
So heavy.
Kind of like my favorite trap, the click plate. It doesn't do anything. It's just a trigger plate that you step on, it goes click.
I received a whole new level of appreciation for corrosive traps when Corey ran the D&D game, and I kept losing my fucking shoes every fucking like 2 rooms. I'd be like, God damn it, the shoes are destroyed. Please, dwarf, fix my shoes. Oh, another corrosive trap. God damn it. Oh, that was so good.
You beat on the door because you know your initial knock it is really thick wood, and you're like, I don't think anybody heard this. And you gotta beat on the door a little, and after a moment, you hear a voice. Who's that?
We're investigators. I look at everybody else. Hi.
We're working for
the Azure Order.
yes.
One moment. And he sounds like he's kind of like not by the door. So you just kind of raise your voice a little to make sure he hears you. And after a moment, you kind of hear him kind of stomping over, and you hear something big kind of slide. And then you see the doors swing inward. Basically, there's just a big, log that kind of falls over and sits in a thing on the other side that locks the door closed.
Now rush him.
No.
Oh yeah.
The man is he looks like he might be super tall, except that he is hunchbacked and his head's too low. Otherwise he looks like he might have been like a 6.5 foot tall dude, but instead he's just under 6 foot. And he looks you all over and goes, "Oh, come in. I don't see any. Oh, okay."
Wait, is this
And he points at Esri, the only person wearing an actual sash that indicates she's with the Azure Order.
Who is this guy? Look like the dude from the Phantasm movies?
No, the tall man is not hunchbacked, and no, he doesn't look
not
hunchbacked.
hunchback. Okay.
This guy is hunchback. He looks more like a giant version of Igor. Yeah,
right.
just this big guy, bug-eyed, hunchbacked, but otherwise very large, very, very bulky fellow, wearing just like some plain robes.
Makes sense why he would be guarding the dead. Because no one else could stand to be around him.
He leads you into the room, and he leads you into the building, and then looks around and goes, "So," and just looks at you. What do you want?
We are investigating some activity going on within the city that is directly tied to individuals who seek to use necromancy to all manner of nefarious end. So we wanted to investigate areas in the city that might be potentially dangerous sites.
Okay. So what do you want here?
I pull out the book and I say, "You ever seen one of these before?"
A book.
and I'm trying to see if he's startled or if he's like recognizes the book. You ever see
He looks right at the book and goes, "I've seen books."
You ever see anybody with one of these books around here, snooping around here?
That book specifically?
Something
No.
like this.
Have you had any incidences of the bodies that you keep here rising from the dead?
Yeah, you got any missing bodies?
Not
Or
that I'm
ones
aware of.
with odd wounds.
Let me think.
Ritualistic
job.
wounds.
In the past week, somebody that died with involving something to do with acid. That was pretty odd. We don't get a lot of acid death. And then there was another one. I mean, the cause of death wasn't that odd. I mean, you get stabbed through the heart, you die. It was the fact that they removed the genitals and the eyes that was weird.
Ritualistic mutilation.
That or nuggets, snacks. I don't know. I just made a note.
In the
Anything
last
else you want to
week,
know?
did any of the dead come in looking sallow, drawn, drained, or potentially frostbitten?
Yeah, the cold. Like somebody died of cold, but there were like no.
Yeah, actually, the one that was missing bits. That one was damaged by the cold, but snow and it's winter. I didn't really think it was odd. Didn't make a note of it, but yeah.
Can we check out that body? Is that something we can do?
And then at which point Esri goes, "We are with the order," and she like shows her. I guess. Come on.
She goes, "We're not asking. I'm telling you."
Well, I mean, if it's not already in the ground or anything like that, right? Like,
nah, they weren't nobles. Nobody came and made a big deal. And gonna burn
We
them.
were about to throw them into the shit pile, to be honest.
we're gonna throw them into the poop portal.
Yeah. I did. Full circle. Okay, we're making it full circle.
Well, I already burned the acid one, but that one's still here. So yeah, come on. And he takes you back, and basically he has a few tables set up. Most of them are empty. There's one with a sheet over it and something lumpy underneath. And he pulls the sheet back, and the smell hits you when you walked in the room, but it's far worse when he pulls the sheet back. There's just rotten meat in the shape of a person. You would guess it to be human or elf based on the size. It's too tall to be a dwarf, way too tall to be a gnome. Most of the parts are rotted off or just, it's gross looking. Who would like to do the autopsy, or who would like to inspect?
I have both.
I go, "Thank you," and I run out of the room.
I have both.
I'm no longer there.
I have both medicine and investigation.
Okay.
So I'd
I'm
be
going to
willing
stay near the
to
door.
attempt it, and I would also be willing to bet that my character. This isn't the first time my character has dealt with dead things, considering. So he probably noticeably has the least negative
Actually,
response.
I would say Tall has the least negative response because
actually, yeah.
food.
No, he doesn't have the least negative. He has the most positive.
I mean, as far as I can tell, I don't think Tom has ever seen the remains of actual organics outside of other Myceans. So he's like,
no, there are rats and other things that y'all do eat down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like decaying things are your jammy jam.
Although you can be conflicted about it.
New life will grow.
I would say you would be as conflicted about eating a former humanoid as a humanoid might be eating a former Mycenaean, even though we eat mushrooms. Like, well, not that one. I knew that one. Yeah, I know those guys.
I just imagine him like at one of our funerals, and he's like crying, but also absorbing our nutrients at the same time.
God, it reminds me of that one Simpsons Halloween episode where they did like a Harry Potter parody, and Mr. Burns's character dies, and Smithers is a snake. He's like, "Oh, sir," and he's like eating Mr. Burns's body while crying and swallowing mole.
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, that's a gruesome image.
Can you
Yeah,
like,
it's exactly the same.
can
That's
you-
exactly where I was pulling
can
that
you
from.
like use your mycelium cilia to like feel out like his dead body
To
or
feel
something
up
like
his
that?
body. Do you want to use your pods to feel up his body?
Sounds gross. Let's do it.
Put your pods on him and let's just see what happens. All right. Do you want me to roll medicine to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sure.
I have a specialization in stabilize, but I feel like we're past this point. So
I mean,
just
it's gonna
medicine.
rot. There's no stopping that at this point.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to spend some XPs. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna spend a fate point. Boop.
Oh, double it. Then roll again
just
and add it
double it.
together.
Yep. Medicine.
So could Tom technically use his Mycenaean pod magic to fill a corpse with like mushroom stuff and have it walk around like a zombie, like a mushroom zombie? Like in
I was
mean,
thinking that, but I'm like, nah, it's a
he
little too
could-
gross to mention.
He could do something like that, or he could just make his own creatures that would temporarily work just as much as you could make a rock creature temporarily work.
yeah.
All right. So anyway, Tarek, with that roll of 22, Erda looks over the humanoid. You're able to pretty quickly figure out this character was human. Because a quick inspection of the ears, of which one is gone, but one is still there. It looks like it might have been gone from frostbite, which is why the guy didn't make a big mention of it. It was, as you begin to inspect it, you'll notice that he didn't actually undo the clothing. He just looked over it. And you'll notice that the pants were down, but the shirt hasn't been touched. So apparently that's probably how it was brought in. And yes, the genitals are gone. The eyes are obviously gone. And you're like, well, let's check everything. And you go ahead and start removing the rest of the clothing, which is kind of gross and actually becoming a part of it at this point. It's because of the rot and all that. And you have to there's like a gross, like almost like tape sound as you peel it off.
Yeah, that stuff has been, it's had time to gel together. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of the skin and whatnot sticks to the shirt as you're pulling it. You're kind of horrified. But even before you do it, you'll notice that the shirt is really stained with blood. And you start to suspect that stain isn't from the injuries that were bleeding so much as something else happened. And sure enough, when you get the shirt off, you can tell that the rib cage has been cracked and the heart has been pulled out as well. It looks like maybe other organs are missing as you're going through, but a lot of them are gross and you're like, oh, it's a little soupy. The heart is missing. The lungs are there. As you're kind of going through, you're like, oh, okay. But parts of the digestive system, the liver, the spleen, those are gone. Pancreas.
So the energy giving areas,
those are gone.
and the life giving areas. Okay.
Right.
So this is definitely ritualistic.
Yeah, it definitely
Feeling.
seems ritualistic, very purposeful. Although currently the purpose is not necessarily known, but you seem to already have some theory forming in your head. Nothing else as you inspect the legs and arms. You do see there are marks on the arms that look like defensive wounds.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Although
So he was overwhelmed first, and then
the weapon that attacked axe or sword maybe looks like cuts, like slashes.
Yeah. But that kind
You're
of
thinking maybe sword, just because if it's a big heavy axe, it probably would have gone deeper.
yeah,
Whereas swords tend to
that's a
leave
good point.
big open bloody wounds. They don't necessarily cut off arms hugely, depending on how strong the wielder is.
That's true, exactly. And if it's defensive, you'd imagine that it's not getting very clean blows; it's getting kind of raggedy blows.
Yeah.
And so that that kind of tells me that this person, whoever did this to this person, may not have been an expert, like at assaulting. Like they don't seem like a skilled fighter, skilled swordsman. This was a desperation fight that got out of hand, and then finally they got this person subdued, and then went into the ritualistic kill. So the person is definitely very well versed in like demon worship or some kind of ritualism, but not very well versed in how to maybe stalk and kill somebody easily.
Do you verbalize any of this to your friends? Oh, by the way,
Yeah, no, I'm speaking.
Hunchback
I'm literally
walked off.
speaking out loud as
Okay.
I'm saying this.
Also, there is a notebook for anyone who wants to look around that is just, or not notebook like we see today, but more like there's a book sitting on top of a desk nearby as well, if anyone wants to check that out.
I'm pretty sure it's not in Sylph, so I'm not bothering.
The Hunchback doesn't look like he's a Sylvan person. no elfy features that you could tell. Unless there was an elf growing in his hunch.
I was gonna say this is actually just what half elves look like in this world.
Ugh.
Yeah, it had the opposite effect.
They get all messed up because when you intermingle two different species, you don't necessarily get a perfect being.
They got the worst of both worlds.
Exactly.
If you read the book that I have shared with y'all in the section on goblinoids, one of the theories on where they came from is that they are half elves.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's awesome. That is so.
I mean, if you just read that book, it's there. And it's also why there are no half elves, that elves are considered sterile when reproducing with any other race. The theory is that their goddess, to protect them from making more of those abominations, made them incapable of reproducing with other races.
That is so cool. I love it. Oh my god, I absolutely love that. It's great.
And for those of you playing elves, you can already know that particular myth. You don't know whether it's true or not. You can decide to believe it's true. It's part of your, ethnicity and religion.
That recontextualizes really how we interacted with the goblin at his house, because it makes sense that some of the elves would be like, "Oh God, not one of them." Oh.
Well, the myth says that that's where the first ones came from. They can reproduce on their own.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was trying to think of the word to associate with that goddess. That goddess believes in eugenics.
So yeah, I will say all of this stuff out loud. This I definitely believe this is a ritual killing of some variety. Whether or not it is directly tied to the events or of the necromancers, or if it was simply a single individual cultist or ritualist attempting some kind of grab at power, I'm not sure. But it is certain, to me at least, that the only thing we can glean from this subject is definitely a ritual killing. It drew out the energy creating areas of the body, the heart, liver, spleen, the homunculus inside of each humanoid that contains the life-giving essences of the humors in each a balance.
Two things.
Together.
One, your character has a high scholarly knowledge, and you literally said something that's in my notes, which I didn't expect you to say. Yes, life-giving homunculus. That is literally the right pieces to make one. You just something that you've never done, but you've skimmed so many books as a Huldafolk. It's entirely possible. And one of the ones you skimmed, you're like, oh, that's gross. But these are the things to make because what you did to make one, you're supposed to take a part of the soul of the person and some pieces of them to create a homunculus. You wouldn't normally use, if you're making one that is bound to you, as in a part of your soul, you would normally use this many parts because they're your parts.
Yeah.
There are people that use like a kidney because you can spare one. But in this case, because there could be a small homunculus running about using these pieces. And of course, the site would give it the ability to spy on things, the life, the ability to consume and keep itself going. As for exactly why they need the genitals, it could be a life thing. You're not entirely sure what they wanted with that, but yeah, homunculus does fit. And the other thing I was going to say is that roll was actually made off of Sarah's character sheet because she is the only one of you that can read. So I made a roll to see if she looked around the room and noticed anything. And she critically noticed the book, picked it up and was like, it looks like our hunchbacked friend doesn't seem to take very good notes, but he did write about this person. She reads the entry. Essentially, it looks like he saw that it was a slightly mutilated poor person. And so because he didn't think anybody was going to claim it, he was like, the pants were down, the genitals removed, eyes were cut out, and that's pretty much all he put on there. And he's just holding it now to see if anybody comes saying, hey, we're missing this person, and nobody has. After a week, she kind of scans back through the book to see what his procedures are, because like I said, she rolled ridiculous.
Yeah. That was
she sees that's his normal deal is he gets a body, he makes the report, and if nobody asks for it, a week later he just tosses it into a incinerator. So he's got some sort of a device somewhere on the premises to burn things until they're pretty much just gone. She doesn't know what it's called exactly because she doesn't know. It's not a thing that she uses where she's from. But she knows that he's burning bodies after a week when no one claims them. He clearly didn't think this body was of much importance.
Well, I cannot blame the man. It is a quite disturbing sight. I would want to get rid of it as soon as possible as well, but he also does not realize the full context around what this body means.
Also, she says that she's looking at it, because again, 23 on the roll is really good. And she said it's really gross is the acid body is completely unidentifiable because the parts that you normally identify on a person is the face, and it looks like someone deliberately, from this description, didn't want anyone to know who was dead. The face was gone, but that's just awful.
The face was gone. Who would want to do such a thing?
She continues to like scroll back through there because your whole point was find out if there's anything else. So she's going to look at other entries while you consider those two things that she has shared so far.
Who would do such a thing? Why would anyone want to hide who died?
Well, I don't know about that. But there are also several entries in here where someone is claiming bodies. Oh, never mind. It just looks like it's somebody who, well, I'm not sure. It looks like somebody is coming and claiming bodies to be buried in the cemetery near the town we came from.
Ooh, who is it? Does it say the name of the person who's going?
It's just a mark.
Well, we should go and follow up there. It's not too far away for us to make the trip. We should prepare, but
she shows you the mark. It looks like, how illiterate people sign with an X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rich people sign with a stamp. So like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, this person uses more of an X.
Okay. That makes sense. It could, if they're also an individual of low standing, then it could make sense why they had such a difficult time subduing this individual. It may not have the tools necessary to strike out as someone who would be a trained killer. Theoretically, at least, I've never actually uh, encountered someone who would be so vile. But hypothetically, I imagine they would exist. I look back at Colm and White Ape.
I'm not there. I ran out. It was gross.
Yeah.
Oh
So you
yeah.
look
Oh,
over
that.
and you see me
Well,
standing
yeah,
at the door.
I look over and I'm like, where the fuck is White Ape? What is he doing?
The smell was
Did he
too much
leave?
for him.
What? I've seen that
You'll-
man skin animals in the wild.
You'll you'll just see Tom like looking around with a disconcerted look on his face in the room, just like, this is concerning.
I thought
The,
Bill was
The
disgusting.
large hunchback
but
kind of looms in the doorway for a moment and looks at y'all and goes, "Tea's on. Do you want tea?"
Oh, I would love a glass, please.
He turns. And after a moment, he'll return with basically a plate with like 4 cups on it.
Why do I
Actually,
imagine him
yeah.
being like a super delicate guy and having like a nose clamp so that he doesn't have to smell the shit? Like he's been here for so long, he just knows all the tricks of like avoiding all the terrible stuff.
he has nothing blocking the smell, and he doesn't seem particularly bothered by any of it. But to be fair, if he's been working here that long,
Yeah,
I bet you
exactly.
anything the tea is black licorice tea.
Something strong.
I don't know. It seems to be the flavor that matches the guy's taste.
I take it you don't like licorice. I love licorice. I think it's delicious. All right,
I
so
would have said chamomile for this guy.
mm,
Chamomile tea.
Yeah, seems fair.
well, if you drink the tea, it actually has like a herbal taste to it, like almost medicine-y. Actually, you, as a medicine guy, can make a roll to identify it.
Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
Oh, look at
I
you!
know medicine.
Critical tea identification.
Hey, I was able to identify some wine a few games ago.
That's true.
Oh, hints of eucalyptus. Just
Like, oh, that's kind of toxic.
not really. Eucalyptus is in real tea.
In small amounts, yeah. You can't do a lot of it.
I said hints.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tea is not deadly. It's kind of almost bitter compared to regular teas. It's a little rough, but you get the sense that this it would actually have stuff in it that would be like vitamins. This tea will make you healthier, but it's not necessarily tasty. So it's a little bitter.
Interesting. I totally expected you were gonna say it tastes like ash, specifically ash from dead burning bodies. and then you were gonna be like,
That's an optional topping.
He was the necromancer all along.
Then he pulls out a boob and goes, "Would you like some milk?"
Straight from the teat. I don't know why, but now he has to have Hagrid's voice. He has to speak like Hagrid from Harry Potter now.
Shouldn't have said that.
I will definitely take the tea and step away from the gurney or whatever the guy's on, and walk over to the mortician, or yeah, he'd be a mortician, right? He's a morgue forensic analysis. I don't know what the hell the guy's job
Basically,
title
yeah,
is.
he's the guy who looks over corpses and takes notes. But you don't get the sense that he is strongly versed in the physical arts. He's not really a doctor,
Mhm.
but he just looks him over. He takes notes on what he sees, and then people can confer with him. Because
Exactly.
that's better than no one looking.
Exactly. And not only that, but he's like the first line of defense who can alert people who are experts to then come and actually
Right.
do an investigation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an older world. This is not our modern forensics.
Yeah. He's just the guy to go, that looks weird. Maybe I should tell somebody who's better at doing this than me. Because that's
Now, if
weird.
there were like 20 bodies in a row that came in with no eyes and no genitals, you'd be like, well, we got a problem.
I think I should probably tell somebody about this.
It happens once, and he's like, "Yeah, that guy should not have pissed off his woman." Because if you sleep next to him, you can't have him hating you.
Yeah. You got to be able to trust that woman. Um. Okay, so I go up and basically engage him as to, have you seen anything like this before in the city?
Like what? The general thing?
No, something like this. And I open up the shirt and start showing him the missing internal organs.
Oh. You actually see like a little bit of a flush to his face. Is like he has been caught like not really doing his job, like he was clearly not didn't do enough work.
Yeah.
Huh. Actually, yeah, once a long time ago, not recent, but yeah, I have seen a body hacked up like this before. Sorry, I didn't notice.
No, no, it is completely okay. It is obviously easy to overlook in such a grim profession. However, I did find it quite odd. I simply am fascinated by learning things, and human anatomy used to be an interest of mine. I was a medic, you see, when I was back with the Hildefolk, and it's a long story.
When you
but
say hold the folk, his eyes just kind of glaze over for like a half second, like and I was with the blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. He's like falling asleep halfway through. Yeah.
No, I know what
However,
you're talking about with the piffle paffle. Okay.
when I was with the Fliffle Flaffle, yeah, basically, I've discovered that individuals who have been exterminated this way, they tend to be a part of some sort of ritualized killing that involves some kind of, at times, magical influences, and other times, uh, something more of an alchemical situation occurs where they steal these organs in order to create, well, the technical term is called a homunculi, but I'm not quite sure if that is the correct term in using with what we have here. This could be an even more intricate case where someone is using these organs in an attempt to perhaps raise some kind of undead being, or use as a sacrifice for some kind of religious connotation. I cannot be sure though, unless we have more information on what the circumstances of this man's death were. And we will not be able to stay here all night. However,
That's
perhaps,
good.
perhaps, perhaps you could do the investigation part of this for us and find out a little bit more about where this gentleman usually stays in the lower side of town.
Well, I don't know who he is, but the one who told me to come fetch him was a little messenger boy, one of the orphans named Helmut.
I see.
I mean, if you found him, he might be able to tell you more about what was there. When I got there, somebody had already rolled him in this, and he points to it looks like an old worn out carpet that was, obviously used outdoors for a while. Like it used to be the indoor carpet, then it became the in front of the house carpet, and now it's wrapped around a corpse to get rid of the corpse.
The natural progression of carpet. Yeah.
Yeah. So he says when he got there, it was wrapped up and ready to go, and he says he's got a wagon, and he indicates another area where the wagon probably is, but he's pointing through walls, so who knows what he's pointing at. I go through with a wagon. They put the carpet in, but it was Helmut would know who saw it and probably tell you more.
I see. Well, you should probably. I look back at you guys and White Ape, and or I look at you guys and say, can we get White Ape back in here, or perhaps we should go and join him. We have
Corey awake.
We have some information now that
Pardon me.
is important to
Bless you.
Someone said my name, and that's how that works.
Yeah.
Because he's a demon, apparently. You say his name and he is there. He is aware of what's going on.
No, I sneeze. You ever watch an anime and two people are talking about somebody and then the scene changes and it's that person and they sneeze?
Mm.
That's
No, I've never noticed that. That's funny. I'm not saying I haven't seen it, but I didn't notice the connection. No.
that's
Really, it's a big thing in Japan.
yeah. And I just sneezed after Tarek started talking about me.
Oh, okay.
It happens.
Well, he's an orphan, so they kind of work the streets looking to get money from people to pass messengers. And
Yes, there was a
whatever.
poorhouse in the lower side of town that had orphans and seemed like the homeless. Just quite tragic. I didn't realize there would be so many people without homes in big cities. But I guess it is difficult to house so many people when you have a large population. Such a quandary. Anyhow, I did see orphans down there, and perhaps we could go and find that orphan down there in the soup kitchen.
Where they serve orphan meat.
Where they serve human meat to the orphan.
Soylent orphan is people.
They're not people,
Yeah.
they're orphans.
Yeah, orphans aren't people. Come on, let's be honest. Yeah, so I will encourage that all of us go either to the orphanage, or not the orphanage, sorry, the poorhouse, or we go to the cemetery in the other city, because both are very potentially very relevant. Both could potentially carry very relevant information.
All right. That's
I
up
don't
to
know.
you
Well,
guys.
I'm putting
Which
that towards
thread you
the
want to pull?
party, because we found out two big clues at this point that we could go follow. The orphan kid who might know more about the circumstances of his death and maybe be able to take us toward this cult, or where the region where this cult might be operating, or we could go to the place where there might be additional I don't know, additional activity in the cemetery at one of the neighboring villages.
That's totally on y'all. I can't comment.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's just looking at me like I'm
not in the room.
crazy. No, I said we went out to the room.
Yeah, that's when you
Oh.
started sputtering, is when they said they were getting you.
Okay.
Yeah, we went outside to go talk to you
Oh, all right.
and get everybody together.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
By the way, no offense to any orphans out there or any people that grew up in foster care or were adopted. Some of my good friends were like that. Like Clay was like that, so.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody thought we were seriously dissing orphans.
No, of course not. It's
And by we, I mean you guys. I didn't even say it.
Yeah, just throw them
All right.
under the bus.
So you are
which
all
one-
there. You can all comment.
well, I think we
Wait,
should just,
did James freeze? I don't think. Oh wait, no. I thought
do we
your
have
camera
a
froze for a
description of
second.
the
It looked like your
orphan that
camera
we
froze.
need to find? I think I can find an orphan.
Well, there's an orphan that we could find
Yes,
down in the lower side of town,
sure.
where he went to go grab the body, or we could go to
mean,
the village.
We found Eldred.
It has
I think I could find an orphan.
true. At least the Airdrek was actively trying to hide from us rather than, just trying to eat. We do have a name for the individual. His name's Helmund.
Holman. Like an
The
almond?
kid.
Helmut.
Helmut.
Because
Not
of the long
helmet.
day at work,
Don't wear
I think I
him.
got maybe 5 minutes left in me.
Orphan Helmut.
Like there's no T.
Okay,
Um,
got him. He's the information on dead guy person. Okay. Yeah, I can find him. What's the other option? What's plan B?
Esri read in the book that was in the room the notes from the Undertaker guy. I don't know what to call him. The hunchback that said that there was a cemetery in one of the villages outside the town, and that there was someone else who was murdered, I believe, that the body had come here, and that bodies that were going to be laid to rest are going to go to that cemetery, so we could go and investigate the cemetery area to try to find out more information about like the cultists.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just with a hunchback.
I like how you were like trying to find the Undertaker, maybe the hunchback, and like that's what you landed on. Like,
Yeah. Well, because I couldn't think of what to call him.
it's like
Because
it's like that Austin Powers where Fred Savage was in it, and he was the mole, but he had a mole, and all he could say was mole.
What are they called? I can't think of what they're called. The people who work
Morticians.
coroner. He's a coroner. God damn it! I kept trying to think of that word all game, and I kept coming up with a blank. Like,
Actually, coroner is a better word than mortician at this point. So.
Yeah, I kept thinking he's
It
a
happens.
morgue worker, and I was like, no, it's not a morgue worker. He's a. There's a thing. I can't think of it. Yeah, the mortician. Undertaker also was like the other word that I kept thinking of the entire time. Was Undertaker? Is he an Undertaker?
Well, it depends on who you talk to. If you talk to the really low class people of this town, you would probably hear him be called the corpse flower or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's very true.
I don't like that. Corpse flower. I don't
Pause,
like.
pause.
No.
Okay, hold on, pause. I have questions about how he plows his corpses.
You see, when you hold the legs and you push them, it looks kind of like.
I don't want to stop.
That's great.
There's a book that I recommend everybody read called The Book of the Vulgar Tongue, which is literally like Victorian era bad words, all the slang.
I love it. Oh,
and
yes.
The number of times that they kept saying the monosyllable, and I didn't know what they were referencing. I finally figured out it's the C word.
The monosyllable.
I was like, what is a mono? Because they would outright say that the guy who handles poultry is the duck effer. Only they didn't put effer. But but for women, there are multiple things calling them monosyllable. And I'm like, I don't know what this means.
Well, that's interesting because Australians like to just use it to call whatever their buddy is at the time. Oi, check this cunt out. You know, like.
Yeah.
See how I tried not to use the bad words, and Corey's like, let me showcase them because I'm the one who wants to monetize my channel.
Look, these live streams, I feel like the ship has sailed on these live streams. Like my regular channel, where I do like scripted videos, that seems fine. But here, on Dead Unicorn Live, it's kind of the Wild West here.
Yeah. This is the business casual world where we can say cunt in the office.
I remember when one of our audience members mentioned that I cussed for the first time in one of the live streams, and I was not consciously being aware of monitoring what I was saying.
I can't believe that you're not consciously aware of monitoring what you're saying, because it seems like you are so deliberately, or maybe it's just like such an ingrained habit for you that you just don't ever do like a curse word. But it is strange to me that you find a way always to like navigate the curse words. I just like stumble directly through them.
So I have two reasons
like
for
10 of them
that.
out.
I have two reasons for that. One, if I ever do have my own channel on YouTube that I consistently upload to, I want to at least make sure that it's advertiser friendly, and that way I can get all the monies from it. And
Mhm.
number two, I also remember hearing that the fathers had a hard time not saying cuss words in front of their kids, and some fathers were so aware of what they were saying that they would alter their cusses. That way they would their kids would only pick up terms or like phrases that sound like cuss words but not really. And I'm thinking,
Oh,
well,
fire truck.
I wouldn't if I ever do become a dad in the future, I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to leave a bad impression on my kids and have them repeat the same things I say in school. So might as well start training now.
I mean, that's why my kids keep saying, poop portal all the day. I don't know.
So anyway, which thread do you want to follow? Back to the game.
It's 1 a.m. for me, and I've had a very long day.
Right. We
so-
got like 30 minutes. Come on, guys.
It's a three.
Do you all want to call it here? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm down to keep going if you want to.
I don't
but
want to keep James going if he can't do it.
Yeah, I don't want
I
to force
just can't.
James. Like, I'm
Sorry.
good with going, but if James is tired, I'm good with that there.
Yeah,
All right.
I just realized I zoned out the
let
entire
us do
last half
decide.
hour. I'm sorry.
Let us
No
do-
worries, man.
Before we end, let us decide which way we're going, so Howard can prepare that direction.
Yeah.
Have maps and encounters and stuff in that general vicinity. I say we go after the orphan. I'm all for orphan hunting.
You make it sound so wrong. Well, yes, I am up for the annual orphan hunting.
yeah, we'll all
Die
split
hard.
up, and the first person to catch him gets to draw first blood.
My hounds smell them. Go, my hounds. Get the orphans.
I see that my necromancerness is nicely rubbing off on the rest of the party members, even though I'm not evil myself. I personally, I feel like the thing that Esri read felt very urgent. And as long as Helmut stays alive, we can always question him later. So I would vote going to the village to try to investigate the events happening near the cemetery there.
All right, James, where do you want to go?
Spooky, scary skeletons.
I'm leaning more towards the cemetery.
Okay, I'll relent. We'll go to the cemetery. Cemetery also sounds easier, but
Then finding a
orphan.
orphan.
Orphans.
Well, orphans are slippery, so it could be hard to get our hands
Finding
on
an
them.
orphan may be expensive too.
Yeah. Whereas
don't
there's
have to
also
buy
the
the
aspect
orphan.
of going out of the big city and into a smaller village and
Well, it's just
graveyard.
like-
We're more likely to have a fight.
Hey, we're looking for Helmut. We don't talk to you. You look like stupid. Here, have a coin. Oh yeah, Helmut. He's over. You can talk to Steve. He'll
Hey.
tell you where Helmut is.
It worked when we talked to the beggars about Airdrek.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And their stew was particularly disgusting,
It was made of orphans. All right.
which made it nutritious, even though it was disgusting.
Is that it for the game? As there's no fate points or character points to give out.
No, nothing
Plus-
happened really that. I don't feel like y'all closed any particular plot line this game.
Okay. Well, then that's it. Hey, thanks for watching. If you watch this all the way through, you obviously like to hit the like button, hit the bell so you know when we're doing this next. We changed to Sundays, so join us every Sunday night and come party with us. Other than that, I guess that's goodbye.
All right.
Say
Bye, all.
goodbye.
Have a good night,
See you next
everyone.
Sunday.
Goodbye.